So now when we examine the male reproductive system, we want to keep in mind that in this case, the sex cells for the males are created in the testes. And so these testes, or the sperm cells, once they actually are as they're developing and maturing, they're going to enter this next phase called the epididymis. And in this epididymis, the sperm isn't fully functional. But one thing you want to keep in mind is that when you're examining male reproductive, it doesn't go direct from testes to this outside world. Instead, it actually goes into this epididymis, goes up what we refer to as our ductus deferens. And in this ductus deferens, it loops around our urinary bladder. Again, this is our urinary bladder where we store urine. And here's the urethra leading all the way out through the penis for the secretion of urine. So males are distinct for that very reason, because as sperm travels up, it shares the same pathway as urine does. And so if you think about that, here's semen, all of the substances that are released during male climax, like what we know as semen, is usually given by things like glands. So one thing you want to learn at first is the pathway from the testes to the outside world. So testes, epididymis, ductus deferens, also sometimes called vas deferens. It travels around, goes all the way around, and then we encounter our ejaculatory duct, which is the one that's going to lead out to our urethra. And then once we're out in the urethra, this urethra is going to go through the prostate gland. And so that's going to be our prostatic, oh, it doesn't matter, you don't have that term, but otherwise this is our prostate gland. And then it's going to travel out through the urethra and out to the outside world. And so on its way out, as sperm is going out through this way, during male climax, there's a release of substances onto that sperm in order to continue or allow or contribute to its survival, to its journey to find an egg. So the first one's going to be our seminal vesicle. This is going to provide a type of mucus that gives it not mucus, but a secretion that gives it fuel. Like sperm in and of itself looks like this. And so it has a head, it has a tail, but this tail is pretty inactive for the most part until we've reached that seminal vesicle, because a bit of fuel it's just sugar, fructose, but fructose makes the tail whip and sort of allows for motion. And then it's going to travel through our prostate gland. Our prostate gland will secrete some hormones that sort of cause waves in the uterus of the female in order to draw that sperm in towards that uterine tube. And then lastly, we have down here, you have our Cowper's gland, or sometimes referred to as bulbourethral gland. And it secretes something like a milky alkaline mucus that protects sperm from the acidity of the urethra. Because remember that if urine is being passed through this segment as well, then you can expect that this pathway is very acidic. So this secretes a mucus that helps protect it on its journey out, and it also protects from the female acidity of the vagina as well. And so with that, here this is going to be the penis here, urethra, and out here, the head of the penis is considered the glans penis. Glans penis. And I believe that's all your terms for this list. And there is this model, which is the exact same thing, as it tries to have a more realistic look to it. And so if we look at it again, here's going to be our testes going into our epididymis, and it's going to travel up our ductus deferens, and it's going to loop around, down here, and here we're going to encounter our seminal vesicle, but otherwise it's going to keep traveling. And then this is our prostate gland right here, and so that's the outside. Now if we remove this, we can see the inside. Here the ductus deferens traveled all the way around, and here we're sort of seeing where it actually sort of that same pathway system for the sperm is traveling through this direction. Here you can see your prostate gland. It's going to be this little purple-brown object here in the very center here, your prostate. And so you can see the urethra is here, the urinary bladder is here, and this is the pathway for sperm. This is the pathway for urine coming out of this wrinkly organ here, the urinary bladder. And so it continues forward until it finally comes out of the urethra, which is going to be this segment here, urethra, and to the outside world. And this is going to be referred to as the glans penis. And the last one to really add here is that the testes are within a skin we refer to as the scrotum. And so whenever you see the testes, the outside skin is going to be scrotum. But otherwise, that is all our terms for male reproductive.